Lobster pots, neatly piled, and freshly painted boats rest quietly beside iron kettles for tarring nets and rigging, and anchors that have seen their last sea voyage. Fishermen owners keep their boats clean and tight. Trim workboats rest on smooth waters like toys, and realistic toy boats are sailed by junior sailors. All these things are a part of the slow and easy life of the typical small Newfoundland fishing village of happy adventure. Boats and the sea life are an age-old tradition on the island, where everything from dinghies to draggers, from trap skiffs to schooners to tuna fishermen come in to tie up. Here, at Happy Adventure, in Bonavista Bay on Newfoundland's eastern shore, we join the Maggie, 22 feet long, with a 25-foot spar and a 10-horse outboard. A small but roomy motor sailor that sleeps for and is built for ocean travel. Our crew is made up of Colin, age 13, standing lookout on the bow, Betty, the galley slave, Ian, 7, the cabin boy, and Dr. David Landells, the Maggie skipper. We move out slowly, under power, in the bright sunlight of a summer day, headed for any adventure that may come to us in our travels along the Newfoundland coastline. We're well stocked with provisions, and our days can be lazy ones. A long vacation with no driving pressures to be at any given place at any given time. We're free to soak up the sunshine and smell the tangy salt air. Free to run smoothly when the wind is calm, or to catch the rising breezes in our sails and convert them into smooth, swift, silent travel. Once out of the harbor, we can run up our mainsail and jib and catch the wind that will take us to lonely islands, to wild, secluded coves, or to busy little fishing ports where we can buy homemade bread and other local delicacies. It's a working vacation where everyone has his place in the crew and where there's a great satisfaction to be earned by doing things well together. The long Newfoundland coastline has been well charted by the British Navy for centuries. Plotting a course or fixing a position are as simple here as anywhere on the seas of the world. The northern summer days are usually warm and pleasant, with light winds and temperatures ranging between 50 and 80 degrees. But should we run into a northeaster, we'll never be more than a short run from a snug, safe harbor. We pass many different types of boats, most of them built by the fishermen themselves at their homes by the sea, and used for both fishing and pleasure. Newfoundland, the great green island of the North Atlantic, is roughly 2/3 the size of New England, with an area of more than 43,000 square miles. Its deeply indented shoreline is more than 6,000 miles long. A sailor can always find sheltering islands and cover from storms in these great bays or along its ragged coastline. This is a sailor's dream territory, as yet largely unknown and unspoiled by modern developers. From the Trans-Canada Highway, which crosses Newfoundland from east to west, branch roads spread out to hundreds of harbors that can serve as supply ports and launching sites for a trailered sailboat. In some sections of the island, there are miles and miles of coast without a settlement. In others, there are groups of small villages that have sprung up close to the best fishing grounds or at key points for the shipment of fish, lumber, or other goods. Let's go ashore to visit some of the northern Bonavista Bay villages like Salvage or Eastport. On this long, shallow, protected, sandy beach, Colin and Ian can join the local children and enjoy the light surf and the warm waters. Although the offshore North Atlantic waters are thought of as being extremely cold, their temperature rises in summer so that warm water fish like mackerel and the great bluefin tuna come here to feed. And where the waters lie relatively still in the shallow bays, the long days under the bright sun make swimming a pleasant summer pastime. While tied up at the dock, Ian uses his newfangled power caster to shoot his lure out to where the fish are. Most boys like to fish, and there are fish to catch everywhere in Newfoundland. Here's a strike, and up comes a sea perch, or a conner. Colin releases it because he doesn't want the job of cleaning it. When the real fishermen, the men whose livelihood depends upon their daily hauls, begin to come in, Dr. Landells and his sons wander down to see some of their catches and to look over their gear and their boats. One of the sturdy offshore fishermen comes in, giving them a chance to meet and talk to some of these down-to-earth blue water sailors. Looking down into the hold, they're surprised to see a fine catch of queen crabs. Brought up in nets from over 100 fathoms in depth, these fine crabs of the North Atlantic rival or surpass in delicate flavor the famous king crabs of the North Pacific coast. Betty picks the liveliest and the best looking of the whole catch and pays for them at the ridiculously low price of 8.5 cents a pound, the going wholesale rate at the pier. Visitors will find Newfoundland a great place for fresh seafood, where cod, mackerel, and herring sell at the landing points for only a few cents a pound. A second offshore boat comes in with its catch as we head out toward the narrow harbor entrance and the open Atlantic. Dangerous rocks line the channel, but it's well marked on the charts. And of course, all the local people know the way. Hold inside the brown rocks, they say, and keep just clear of the breaking reef and the rocks on the western headland as you go out. Outside the channel, we run down the shore toward a quiet anchorage in an uninhabited harbor. A perfect place to prepare the evening feast and spend the night. These steaming queen crabs more than live up to expectations. The freshest of deep-sea food in a perfect setting. Everyone enjoyed them, except Ian, who wants a hot dog or a hamburger. It's great to awaken to the sound of a waterfall in the background, while the gulls call from the nearby rocks. Here's a new shoreline to look over and explore. More lobster traps, piled up to wait for another season. They have to be studied carefully to find out how, why, and where a lobster enters and is trapped. Blueberries hold down that ever-present hunger. Sea urchins and other shells stimulate a boy's curiosity. There are smooth beaches to run on. Soft, wet sand to make forts and castles with. Their own private beach to play on. Clean sand, clean water, in a clean world. At swimming time, the boys can really explore. Colin snorkels his way over unbelievably beautiful fields of seaweed. Frightening crabs and sea trout. Swimming, diving, and looking until he finds what he seeks, a bed of mussels, not far under the surface, even though the tide is high. Mussels, which are extremely abundant in Newfoundland, are rarely used by the Newfoundlanders, who prefer the equally plentiful clams and other seafood. But for Dr. Landells and Betty, mussels are a special treat they've enjoyed in the fine restaurants of the capitals of Europe. Covered with seaweed, the mussels are put over a fire in a little salt water. A few minutes of steaming opens the shells, and the tender morsels are ready to eat. Of course, the right wine complements their special flavor. There's nothing in the whole world any better to eat on a sunlit beach than freshly steamed mussels in a buttery sauce, unless it's a hot dog or a hamburger. Colin and his father follow a small stream up to a beaver dam. They're fascinated by the intricate weaving of sticks and twigs and leaves that is both strong enough to stop the stream and waterproof enough to hold it at a higher level. They see the beaver and watch him, while he swims around and watches them. Colin finds a freshly cut poplar stick several inches thick, from which the beaver has eaten the bark, and studies the clean cleavage where the animal's sharp teeth have done their work, while his father casts his fly. There's a strike. David Landells is fast to a beautiful big brook trout. The trout fights hard but loses ground steadily. Finally, he's right on the shore. There, with a last effort, he breaks free. Oh well, if you don't catch a trout, you can always catch a cod or two in any of Newfoundland's bays or shore waters. Almost any lure will catch a cod, but a heavy, fast-sinking, shining lure that can be jigged up and down near the bottom is usually best. They jig their lures as the boat drifts slowly. The doctor strikes a fish, and where there's one cod, there are usually others. Ian has one too. The skipper brings his fish aboard first, a good one, close to 10 pounds. Then Ian's comes up. Another cod that turns out to be just a little bit bigger. Both fish become part of an aromatic fish chowder. There's a real pleasure in providing your own wild food, These fish taste better out here where they were caught than anywhere on shore. We run through a narrow channel where the chart shows a safe passage for boats of less than 6-foot draft at any tide. A shortcut that will save an hour's run in reaching the open water. Once out on the broad expanse of the bay, we find a good breeze blowing and seabirds like this gannet flying low to the water. Up go the sails, and we look forward to a good breeze and a fast run with the wind singing in the canvas and the rigging. We pass fishing boats frequently, heavily laden with the rich treasure from the sea floor. Most of the province's sailing skippers know one another through membership in the island's sailing clubs. This turns out to be the 40-foot motor sailor of a friend and fellow member of the Royal Newfoundland Yacht Club. As you watch your friend fade away ahead, you can look at the other side of the picture. We don't have his speed, but with the Maggie, we can go anywhere he can, and just as safely. We can put our boat on a trailer and move it over the highways at 60 miles an hour to the bay of our choice. We can stay there for a week or a weekend and get back to St. John's in a day from anywhere on the island. Any skipper with a seaworthy boat can find smooth sailing in the great bays and narrow channels of the long Newfoundland coastline. He can visit quiet fishing villages and enjoy the company of the solid, steady fishermen who live in them. Or he can seek the quiet spots where he and his crew can be completely alone, to hear the song of the wind in the sails, to feel the measure of the swells beneath and the breeze above, to fish, to explore, to swim, or to loaf in the sun. Whether you bring your own boat to Newfoundland or arrange to rent one on the island, you'll find there's no better, safer, more interesting holiday to be found anywhere. Like David Landell's and his family, you and your motor sailor can find a complete and happy adventure in Newfoundland's protected waters.